Hello there. Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and I love Bad Batches. That's a fucking problem. And in this video, stick with me. We're going to be breaking down episode 6 of The Bad Batch. There's a lot of Easter eggs, hidden details, and things going on in this entry, and throughout the video we'll be going over them whilst also giving our theories on what could be happening next. Full spoilers ahead, so if you don't want anything ruined, then the video is going to be a little short like Yoda. Please drop a thumbs up if you enjoy the breakdown, and don't forget to subscribe for videos with puns in all the wrong places. With that out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into Bad Batch episode 6. Okay, so up top, quick correction on the last video. In that we said we're halfway through the season, but as many of you pointed out, the series is actually going to have 16 episodes. So you've got 10 more weeks of me talking utter nonsense and making constant mistakes. Maybe I'll get put in charge of Star Wars, eh? Are you having that? Now episode 5 saw the Batch going to Ord Mantell, which was first name dropped in The Empire Strikes Back. Here they were given a job by Cid to rescue a Rancor named Muchi, and this led to them going head to head with some Zygerian slavers. Throughout the episode it became clear that something is up with Wrecker's head, namely his chip. We said that he's likely now a chip off the old block and dealing with several of the issues that we've seen in the clones thus far. We'll be discussing this later on in the video, but the amount of head rubbing that's been going on in this season just has been absolutely crazy. Omega also managed to get a brand new weapon, and shoutouts to Ryan Airy at Screen Crush for pointing out that this is an energy bow, which is a primary weapon of the Night Sisters of Dathomir. After learning of Fennec Shan, the Batch remained on Ord Mantell, and the episode title Decommissioned refers to several things in the Star Wars canon. Firstly, the main objective in the episode is to retrieve a droid before it's decommissioned. However, the meaning goes far beyond that. When the clones were replaced, it was simply stated that they were decommissioned, and this phrasing has a lot of subtext to it. Typically, when you decommission something, you're referring to a product and not a person, and it very much shows how the Empire view the clones as items rather than actual people. They are seen in the same vein as the droids, and if the Empire is willing to get rid of them, you can bet that they'll do the same thing to others that they don't really view as life forms. I think the Batch see a lot of similarities between themselves and the droids, and this further pushes them away from the Imperials. Now I love this panning shot at the start of the episode that shows someone feeling like I will tomorrow morning. It's Friday! Now we catch Omega practicing with a bow, and this could be a little nod to A New Hope, namely when Luke was figuring out how to use a lightsaber. She keeps failing, but after some kind words from an elder, she gains a lot more confidence. Again, just say it with me, eh? It's like poetry, they rhyme. The aliens from last week also return, and we get a much better look at them. We can now see that they're an Ithurian and also a Weequay. Both of these have appeared in numerous Star Wars properties, with the first appearing in A New Hope. The latter species were used as Jabba's guards, as well as the bartender in episode 1 of season 2 of The Mandalorian. Typically, both species are a bit douchey, so I love the fact that they keep shouting for her to miss. Cid tells them of a tactical droid, and we discover that it's being sent to Corellia to be decommissioned. Now firstly, Corellia is the home planet of Han Solo, and if you've seen Han's Solo movie, then you will no doubt recognise the location as the place we start off at. Now shout out Simon A. Berman on Twitter for pointing out that Corellia is one of the planets where the Empire makes their ships and other vehicles like Star Destroyers and AT-ATs. He also told me that the voice actor for Omega is actually 37 years old, and shoutouts Michelle Ang for doing a stellar job on portraying a little kid. Now tactical droids have also appeared throughout the Clone Wars, and they also popped up in Solo too. These were typically used to plan out battle strategies, and because of this they possess a wealth of knowledge. Cid very much becomes their agent, and it is possible she'll be getting them to go on mercenary jobs in the future. She did mention last week that she had connections to the guild, and I can see her sort of being this series' Grief Karga. The Batch attached to his ship to sneak past the sensors, and Echo says, "This old trick," and of course did something similar in The Empire Strikes Back, and I'm not even gonna bother saying it. Also yeah, before you start, I know this takes place before that movie. Now we see several police droids and also learn that Wrecker doesn't like heights. Typically, clones were programmed to have as little fear as possible, and thus this shows how he differs from the typical grunt. In the smelting factory, we can also see several battle droids being destroyed. This is sort of the opposite to the factory that Anakin and Padme went through in Attack of the Clones, where they were of course created. The group go through the facility and discover that, as luck would have it, there's one tactical droid left. Omega discovers its head, but it's pinched by Trace, who we learn is at the factory with her sister Rafa. You might recognise these two as Ahsoka's friends in the Clone Wars, and we learned that when they were younger, they lived on level 1313 on Coruscant. This was the underworld of the planet, and sadly, whenever I hear that, I think of the cancelled Star Wars game. #NeverForget. It was gonna be a classic, and I swear we'll always miss you, buddy. Now, things all go to hell, and after an arrow is accidentally fired in the factory, the entire place starts to go into meltdown. It's quickly locked down, and police droids end up going into the area. One says Ichuta, which is a Huttese curse in Star Wars. This was first said by E3PO in The Empire Strikes Back after C3PO tried to chat her up. There's sort of a three-way struggle with the sisters, Bad Batch and the droids, all trying to get what they're after, and Wrecker has to face his fears to help lift the lockdown. He further batters his head once more, and we discover that his chip has indeed activated. He starts to say "good soldier," which is what several of the clones uttered after the brainwashing came into full effect. Crosshair's words also echo in his head about how good soldiers always follow orders. Following orders is something that has been uttered by several of the clone troopers, and during Order 66, it was pretty much mentioned by most of them when they were asked why they did what they did. I think it's really going to be interesting to see how this develops, but at least we got a fan theory right and didn't completely Mephisto the entire series. I think that we will probably come across a Jedi at some point in this season, potentially Ahsoka, and that he will attempt to kill her. This will show that the chip has indeed activated, and it will also force the group to find a way to stop it. Upon doing this, they'll realise how to deactivate it in Crosshair, and I think the second half of the season will be about saving him. Now, we will be talking about Ahsoka later on, but there are some big clues that she's coming down the line. From here, Hunter cleverly takes down the support posts in the factory to destroy the droids, and they manage to save Omega from getting the Anakin treatment. Now, though I absolutely love this season, up until this point, I think that the series has been a little light on action. I know it's had its moments, but I've never really felt there's been a scene where the Batch are truly in danger, whereas here, finally, they're facing some real odds. Rafa and Trace realise that if they want to make it out, they'll have to work together, and the Batch also copy the data on the tactical droid in order for them to get the best of both worlds. They also pull several droids from the assembly line to help out, and they say how they never thought they'd end up on the same side. This is definitely hinting towards the moral shades of grey that the group are of course now working in. Omega finally masters the bow, and they manage to make it out by the skin of their teeth. On Rafa and Trace's ship, we see a yellowy green astromech droid, and we learn at the end that this is R7. Cast your mind back to the Clone Wars, and you'll remember that Ahsoka's droid was R7A7, so I think its inclusion here confirms that their mystery contact is indeed her. As I said earlier, I think the whole chip thing in Wrecker's head will lead to him trying to assassinate a Jedi upon seeing them, and the setup of Ahsoka here definitely brings that all together. They say their contact is trying to fight the Empire, and though this could be a number of people, the fact that they possess her droid makes the most sense to me. However, let me know below if you think differently, as it may even be someone like Bail Organa or even Saw Gerrera. Hunter gives the tactical droid info that Tech copied to the sisters, as he realises they'll use it for better reasons than the Batch ever will. Hunter says things were clearer when they were just soldiers, to which we get a note about how we all choose sides in the end. The Bad Batch have clearly chosen theirs, and we end the episode with the sisters reaching out to their contact. They say there's a rogue set of clones, and Ahsoka has of course dealt with the likes of Captain Rex. All in all, probably my favourite episode so far, and lots to speculate about, so let me know your thoughts below. Now, as for my thoughts on the season so far, I feel a bit like a Jedi whilst watching it. This week-to-week release schedule requires great patience, and means that one must sit and wait for this big plot to unfold fully. I feel like there's a lot to come back for week to week though, but I'm still undecided as to whether this would work better as a big binge or in the way that it's being released. 16 weeks is a long time, but I must say that I'm really enjoying the story that they're telling in the show. I think whenever Star Wars introduces new characters at the moment, it's often a coin toss over whether they're going to be loved or hated, but but for the most part I would say all the new additions like Omega are working really well. Search your feelings, you know it to be true, and it's nice that in a show centered around the Bad Batch, they've managed to introduce a brand new element that was completely unconnected from them and weave them into the show really well. Every week feels like a big new adventure in the Star Wars expanded lore that leaves you wanting more, and at the end of each episode I'm curious to see who could pop up next time or where they could end up. We're barely scratching the surface here, and the fact we've still got 10 episodes left means there's a lot of plot avenues that they can explore. I'm kinda hoping the story kicks up a gear and just goes all out crazy, but there's still plenty of time for them to develop the characters before they fully throw them in at the deep end with the Empire. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the show so far, and we'll of course be back next Friday with a brand new breakdown on the next episode. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Bad Batch, so make sure you comment below and let me know. As a thank you for interacting with the video, you'll be entered into a prize draw on the 30th of June, in which we're giving away 3 copies of the MCU Phase 3 box set. All you have to do to be with a chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the episode. The winners of last month's competition are on screen right now, so if that's you, then message me on Twitter at Heavy Spoilers. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of last week, or you know, just whatever's linked on screen right now. That out of the way, thank you for sitting through the video. I've been Paul, I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.